once we have the kiosk bolted to the scale, the next thing we're going to do is attach this upper pipe right here to the back of the TV. The side that you want attaching to the upper pipe is the longer of the two bend sides, this one right here. Now, you want the bend to go like this. There's actually a hole in the back of this pipe. You want that facing the back. There's a small hole right here. And you also want to make sure the male end of this HDMI plug is coming up towards the TV. As I mentioned earlier, you're going to want to make sure that this cable, this power cable for the TV, is fed from the top down through this pipe right here. Just like that. As I mentioned, your remote's still right here. And once again, that male end of the HDMI port is going to be facing up. You're going to feed this through. If you have any trouble getting it through, you can always take that HDMI out and try running them together through the pipe so that they don't get stuck. So maybe a little easier that way. It's not too difficult this way either. And we're close. There it goes. Okay, so now our power cord is out. Our HDMI cord is still through here. Let's run this through the top just like the power cord does. Now, on the back of this TV, what you'll see, and as I mentioned, you want that hole to be up, and that's going to hit this screw right here. There's a screw that's beside the set screws. The purpose of that screw is to not let the TV slide through all the way and on this pipe and run further down the pipe than we want it to. I'm going to make sure I'm back in the frame. So I'm all the way up against this main screw that's just sticking through. I have this pretty square right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tighten these two set screws with the Allen wrench. And those are both pretty tight. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hook up this HDMI cord to HDMI 1 or HDMI 2, it really doesn't matter. And that's hooked in. You'll also see on the back of this TV you have that remote mounted, and then you have a Futrix USB drive that's silver. The TV will likely be on the USB drive. Right now we just have a single image on it. It can be a slideshow, it can be a single image. If you want to loop video, you can go to the HDMI port. That actually is in a different type of procedure that's run through our software to get it running that way. If you need any help with that at all, just let us know and we'll get it done with you. Let's finish feeding these cords all the way back through. You know, it's easier to have the slack at the top actually, and just have a little bit inside the pipe. But as you can see now, we're securely mounted to the pipe. The bend goes like this. I'm going to take this over to the kiosk. Now you definitely want to have a second person here. I'm going to do it by myself because I am in here by myself, but have a second person handy. Make your HDMI connection. Make your power connection. Okay. Now what we can do next is we can pull that HDMI cord through, get rid of a lot of that slack, make sure it doesn't get caught around that. Okay. And I'm also going to do the same with the power cord, try to get rid of some of that slack. Alright, and we're going to want that bend facing away still. So we're almost there. Maybe rotate that a little bit so it gets around the HDMI. Now we're there. Now this is going to slide in here. And on the back side of this, there's another set screw to tighten this in place. Let's get rid of these cords. Let's get our Allen wrench. There it is. And this next set screws on this lower pipe. And all you're going to do is get this where you want it to be square. You're going to tighten down the Allen wrench. Okay, so now we have that HDMI hooked up. We have power to the TV as well. You're going to take these two cables. You can run them around on the back. We've included some zip tie mounts so you can zip tie them out of the way. On the back side where the remote is and that USB drive I mentioned. But that's essentially the finishing the setup for the secondary display. So now that we have the kiosk sitting on top of the scale, bolted to the scale with the secondary display on, it's solid, it's not going anywhere. The last piece we have to the puzzle is the power cord. You'll simply take this, I'll bring it around and show you. It's pretty simple. So again, bolted to the scale, door shut. You have the pipe. Let me show you that set screw. Here's the other set screw I just tightened. See if we can't get a zoom on it. There we go. So that's actually mounted in the bottom pipe, and then the top plate slides into this. Your power connector is down here on by the seat right here. It's a simple plug-in job like that. You take your other end, you plug it in the wall. And when that's plugged in the wall, you should hear the TV turn on, or the computer turn on. The power switch for the computer is right here in the bottom right-hand corner. It should boot up. You can see the TV is also booting up at this time. Just press it once, there's a little LED indicator, it'll turn on. And the TV should turn on if there's power to the computer. So there it goes, the computer turns on, the TV turns on. And you just need a second for everything to power up. And once this turns on, it'll boot right into the software. If it doesn't, you might need an admin password. That's in your documentation. The password is also right here. Capital F Futrex 130. That's the administrator password on the computer. Come here. Capital F UTREX 130. Hit enter. The computer will boot on. And it'll boot right into the software. And if you turn it to the HDMI input that we plugged in, right now it's set to a Futrex video for our products, but as I said, you can run it through whatever video you'd like through the software. You'll click the screen to begin. English. Now there's the disclaimer. The box you have to check is the small box here. Can't move forward until you check that. You'll enter your age, gender, complete analysis is all of it, height. Okay, now I'm gonna have to sit down at the kiosk for the weight. Now when you do the weight measurement, you want to make sure your feet are completely on the scale, you're all the way in. You'll hit begin. It'll take your weight. Now you're going to want to make sure your bare left arm is in the cuff. No sleeve. There's a body fat measurement built in. You're going to want your elbow down on the desktop. You'll hit begin with your right hand, hopefully. You'll hear the cuff lock. And inflate. There's an abort button there on the screen. There's also one on the side of the cuff here. And you'll see it tightening up. And while that's going on, this is still going up here. And you'll hear the inflation stop. It will start to deflate. And that's going to complete the measurement here in a second. Thanks for your time.